Welcome to the AI Checkpoints. You're listening to The Deep Dive, and today we're taking a bit of a shortcut to get you really well informed on, well, one of the most exciting frontiers in tech right now, AI voice agents.
Yeah, it's a fascinating area. We've gathered insights from some key players, folks at OpenAI, Intercom Fin, Superdial, Fractional AI. And our mission today is really to pull out the most important bits, those real aha moments, just for you, our listener.
Exactly. Get ready to understand not just what's happening in voice AI, but maybe more importantly, why it matters. We'll throw in some surprising facts, maybe a little bit of humor too. So let's kick things off. Why now? Why are we suddenly seeing this huge explosion in voice AI? It feels like they went from kind of clunky robots to almost human overnight. What changed?
That's a great starting point because, voice AI really feels like it's hit a tipping point for actual scalable use in the real world. It wasn't that long ago, as folks from OpenAI pointed out, that these models were just painfully slow, very robotic, kind of brittle. But now, they're way faster, much more expressive, and actually pretty accurate. And Peter Barr from Intercom Fin put some numbers on it. He highlights that over 80% of support teams still use the phone. Over a third of customer service globally happens over voice.
Wow, 80% still on the phone.
Yeah, it's huge. And he notes that people just, they prefer voice for urgent stuff or sensitive issues. You don't want to type all that out, right?
Makes sense. But beyond just what users prefer, what's the actual business driver here? There must be a strong case for companies jumping in now.
Oh, absolutely. The business case is really compelling. Peter Barr breaks it down. A human phone call in the U.S., that costs somewhere between, say, $7 and $12. Voice AI agents, they can be at least 5 times cheaper.
5 times. That's significant.
It is. But it's not just about saving money on existing calls. This efficiency, it's actually unlocking whole new ways of doing business, new services that just weren't affordable before. Think about it. 24/7 availability, no wait times, ditching those annoying IVR menus because you can just talk naturally. Plus, they can handle like 30 or 40 languages.
Right, the scalability is huge.
Exactly. For businesses, it means they can handle growth or sudden peaks in demand much more easily.
Okay, so bringing it back to us, the listeners, the users, what does this mean for our everyday interactions? What's the big benefit?
Well, fundamentally, it means technology is becoming way more accessible, more intuitive. Dominic Kundal from OpenAI talks about this sort of magical feeling you get when you can just talk to an agent. And crucially, these voice interactions, they can pack in a lot more information than just text. You get meaning from the tone, the emotion, not just the words. It's a richer experience. So, okay, let's talk about how these things are actually built. When you look under the hood, there are basically 2 main ways people are putting these voice agents together. We hear about this from OpenAI folks like Toki Sherbakov, Anup Kotha, and Dominic Kundal. They talk about the traditional chained approach versus the newer speech-to-speech models.
Okay, the chained approach. That sounds complicated. Is it like that digital Rube Goldberg machine I imagined?
Audio in, text, thinking, text back to audio.
That's actually a pretty good way to put it. It is like a chain.
Yeah.
You've got 3 separate models stitched together. First, speech-to-text turns the audio into words. Then, an LLM, the brain figures out what to say back. And finally, text-to-speech turns that text response back into audio. Now, the upside is you have control. You can plug in different LLMs. But yeah, it's inherently slower because of all those steps. And there's this issue of lossiness, as they call it. Nuance, emotion that can get lost, translating between audio and text and back again. Plus, as Dominic Kundal pointed out, handling interruptions. Like, if the user wants to jump in, that's really tough with this chained setup.
Oh, I remember those early demos. Trying to interrupt an OpenAI agent just a few months back felt impossible. You'd ask for a haiku about whispers, it misunderstands, starts talking about sand, and you just couldn't stop it.
Exactly. And that's where the speech-to-speech architecture really makes a difference. It's basically a single integrated model. It handles everything, listening, understanding, responding directly in the audio domain. No text conversion step in the middle.
Okay.
So this massively cuts down the latency, the delay, and it leads to a much more natural, fluid conversation because it can understand tone and emotion much better. It feels more like talking to something that's actually listening in real time.
That sounds like the dream, really. But, nothing's ever perfect. Are there downsides or limitations to going purely speech-to-speech?
There are trade-offs, yeah.
Yeah.
One challenge is that these pure speech-to-speech models can be a bit harder to connect with existing text-based systems or tools. And for really complex reasoning or decision-making, sometimes that structured text processing is still beneficial. But there's a really smart solution emerging, one that OpenAI has demonstrated and companies like Fractional AI are using. It's often called a delegation approach.
Delegation approach. Okay, unpack that for me. Is it like a hybrid system, getting the best of both?
Exactly that. You have a fast, real-time speech-to-speech agent handling the direct conversation, keeping things natural and fluid for most interactions. But for the really tricky stuff, complex problem solving, maybe processing a refund or navigating a detailed interview like Fractional AI does, the frontline agent can sort of delegate that task to a more powerful, perhaps text-based back-end model like GPT-4 Mini. Yeah, it gives you that low latency for the chatty parts, but you still have the heavy-duty reasoning power when you need it. It's about optimizing for both speed and depth.
Okay, so you've picked your architecture, maybe this delegation model. What else goes into actually building a voice agent that works well? It can't just be about the core AI model, right?
Oh, definitely not. It's way more than just a model. Dominic Kundl from OpenAI really emphasizes this. He says an agent is this combination of the models, yes, but also the instructions, the prompts, plus the tools it can use, and a solid runtime environment with guardrails.
Guardrails like safety nets.
Exactly. Safety nets to keep it on track, prevent it from saying weird things or going off topic. And folks like Toki Sherbakov and Anup Kotha break it down further.
Yeah.
You've got to think about latency, cost, accuracy, the overall user experience, how it integrates with other systems. It's a whole product challenge.
When you say prompts, my mind goes straight to writing text instructions. But for voice, it sounds like there's more to it. You're shaping how it sounds too.
Much, much more. This is where it gets really interesting. You can actually control the agent's expressiveness, as Toki and Anup call it. Its whole demeanor, the tone, how enthusiastic it sounds. Because these are generative models, you can prompt them. Say, sound excited, or speak a bit more slowly.
You can really direct its personality.
You really can.
Yeah.
Dominic Kundl mentions infusing emotions, roles, personality right through the prompt.
Yeah.
You can't swap out the fundamental voice mid-call, but you can absolutely steer the accent, the tone, the delivery style just by prompting. It's like giving stage directions.
That's fascinating. Now let's get practical. Nick Karatakis at Superdial talks about these last mile problems, the little things that can totally ruin the experience if you don't get them right. What are those?
Ah, yes, the crucial details. Latency management is a big one.
Yeah.
Peter Barr at Intercom Fin shared a great example. They found that for complex questions that took maybe 3 or 4 seconds for the AI to figure out, users felt it was awkward silence.
Yeah, that dead air is killer.
Right. So they started injecting little filler phrases. Things like, okay, let me just look into that for you, or, one moment, please. Just enough to bridge the gap while the AI thinks. Keeps the conversation flowing.
Smart, because yeah, a second of silence from a bot feels like an eternity, like it's judging your question.
Totally. And another one is answer length. Chatbots can give you these long paragraphs, right?
Yeah, walls of text sometimes.
But on the phone, that doesn't work. You need to break it down. Intercom Fin, for example, chunks complex answers. They'll explain part 1, then ask, would you like me to explain the next step?
Yeah,
Works really well for things like troubleshooting.
that makes sense, keeping it interactive.
And then there's this fascinating thing about the user mindset. Peter Barr noticed something really interesting during testing. Initially, some people talk to their Fin voice agent like an old IVR. Just single words, support, password.
Right, like talking to a machine from the 90s.
Exactly. But as the AI agent started using full natural sentences, the humans, they adapted. They started using full sentences too.
Yeah.
He quoted a colleague saying, "It's crazy how the human speaks more like a bot, and the bot speaks more like a human."
Wow, that's quite the reversal. The AI is teaching us to be more conversational.
It really shows how the design of the conversation itself can shape how people interact. It's not just about the tech, it's about the psychology too.
That human speaks more like a bot line really sticks. It highlights this isn't just AI development, it's almost behavioral design.
Absolutely. And that leads into why Eddie Siegel from Fractional AI calls building these voice agents hard mode for AI development. Because you've got all the usual LLM challenges, unreliability, sometimes they hallucinate, evaluation is difficult, but then you layer on the real-time streaming audio complexity. It's tough.
Tell me about these rabbit holes you mentioned. I'm picturing an AI interviewer getting stuck on small talk.
That's pretty much it. Their interview agent, for example, naturally wanted to chit-chat and ask follow-up questions, because that's what LLMs often do. But the goal was to keep the interview moving. So their solution was ingenious, a completely separate drift detector agent.
Another agent watching the first one.
Yeah, a text-based LLM listening to the transcript in the background. Its only job is to decide, is this conversation going off track? Or is it time to move to the next question? And, if needed, it can actually force the main voice agent to use a tool, like triggering the next question, to get things back on course. It's like an AI supervisor.
That's seriously clever. A meta AI keeping the main AI in line. But doesn't adding more agents just add more things that could potentially break?
It does add complexity, definitely, which is why evaluation becomes even more critical. You have to make sure your fix isn't causing new problems.
Yeah.
But the improvement in reliability and the user experience can be massive.
Okay, so speaking of reliability, transcription errors, we've all had voice-to-text go hilariously wrong on our phones. How big a problem is that here?
It's a significant one. Eddie Siegel explained this well. Even with advanced models like OpenAI's, which understand sound directly, they often use a side model, like Whisper, just for creating the text transcript the user sees. And Whisper, being text-focused, can sometimes generate really bizarre stuff from silent or background noise. He gave the example, creeping dippity-dippity-dippity.
Slight chuckle, creeping dippity. Okay, yeah, you don't want that showing up on the screen for the user. How do you fix that?
Well, you guessed it, fractional AI built another separate agent.
Of course they did.
This one's job is purely to look at the transcript snippet and decide, is this likely nonsense? Should we hide this from the user?
Mm-hmm.
So the user doesn't see the dippity-dippity, but internally, the main AI still gets the full audio context. It's a user experience fix, a clever workaround for a current technical limitation.
Okay, this sounds like a lot of these Band-Aids, as Eddie Siegel called them, fixing issues in a way that feels maybe a bit vibes-driven. How do you actually know if all these fixes are working properly and not just making things weird in new ways? Evaluation must be key.
Evaluation is absolutely critical. Yeah, you can't just rely on vibes. Peter Bard, Intercomfin, for instance, their main metric, their North Star, is the resolution rate. Did the agent actually solve the user's problem? Or did the user hang up after an answer and then have to call back within 24 hours? That's a concrete measure. They even use other LLMs as judges to analyze call transcripts automatically, looking for issues or areas where the agent could improve, trying to make it more objective.
Okay, that makes sense for support calls, but what about something more qualitative, like that interview use case? There's no single right answer there. How do you measure success?
That's a really tough problem, the lack of clear ground truth. Fractional AI tackles this using synthetic conversations. They actually use LLMs to generate fake user personas, maybe a snarky teenager, or someone applying for a specific job role.
Creating fake candidates.
Exactly. The voice agent then interviews these synthetic personas, and they have an automated evaluation system that scores the agent's performance on things like clarity, completeness, professionalism, across a whole range of these different fake user types.
Wow, like a robot focus group running constantly?
Pretty much. It lets them test at scale and move away from just relying on gut feelings, even for subjective tasks.
And Nick Karyotakis mentioned some unique testing too, right? Like having bots talk to each other?
Yeah, end-to-end testing is crucial for voice. He talked about setting up things like a fake phone number that just plays back a recorded MP3, or even having your agent call another automated system to see how it handles real-world interactions and potential failures, really testing its robustness.
So what's the real-world impact of getting all this right? We've talked tech, challenges. What are the results?
The results can be pretty stunning. Nick Karyotakis shared that SuperDial, which automates calling insurance companies, something nobody enjoys.
Ugh, definitely not.
Right. They saved over 100,000 human phone hours. And they did this with a really small team, just 4 engineers. And a key thing for them is focusing on delivering the result. If the bot gets stuck, they transparently hand off to a human to finish the call. That builds huge trust. It's not about pretending the bot is perfect. It's about getting the job done for the customer.
That focus on the results, the say the right thing at the right time idea, that really resonates. It's about effectiveness.
Exactly.
But then, okay, there's the flip side. As these voices get so good, so natural, are there ethical things we need to think about?
That's a crucial point Nick Karyotakis also raised. Voice AI can, unfortunately, inherit biases. It might struggle with certain accents or dialects more than others. And then there's just the spooky factor, as he put it. Hearing a hyper-realistic voice say something unsettling, he really emphasizes that the responsibility, the onus, is on the engineers and the companies building this stuff to prioritize accessibility, to make sure diverse voices are involved in development right from the start.
So, looking ahead then, wrapping this all up, what's the big picture for voice AI? Where is this heading?
I think the consensus is clear. Building great voice agents isn't just a tech or model problem anymore. It's fundamentally a product problem. Peter Barr from Intercom Fin really drove this home. It's about picking the right use case, designing for the specific quirks of phone calls, building the right tools, and maybe most importantly, building trust with the human teams who will actually use these agents. The core technology, as OpenAI folks suggest, it's largely good enough now. The challenge and the opportunity is in the smart, responsible, human-centered implementation, how we build the whole experience around the AI.
And that feels like a perfect place to leave it. That's our deep dive into the really fascinating, pretty complex, and definitely fast-moving world of AI voice agents.
Yeah, we've covered a lot how they got from clunky to conversational, the different ways they're built, those tricky last-mile problems, and some really creative solutions people are finding.
The move to a multimodal world where we interact with AI through voice, vision, text, it's clearly happening, and voice is really at the forefront right now. It's a great reminder, isn't it, that even as the AI gets incredibly powerful human ingenuity problem solving, that's what's really shaping how we use it.
Absolutely. So maybe think about it. What could truly natural, intelligent conversations with AI mean for you? How might it change your daily routine or how businesses operate? The future of conversation is definitely here, and it's changing fast.
We really hope this deep dive gave you a solid head start in understanding this exciting space. Until next time, stay curious and see you next time.